This conference is being recorded. Only the main conference is recorded.
Good morning, everyone. We want to thank you for joining our webinar regarding Louisiana Medicaid provider enrollment. My name is Brandon Bush, and I'm the Section Chief of Medicaid Program Operations and Compliance. I'm joined today by Kalinda Parker, our Medicaid Deputy Director, and Whitney Martinez, who manages Louisiana Medicaid provider enrollment. Today, I'll present about the importance of the project, provide information about who needs to enroll now, how to look up your status, provide information on upcoming deadlines, and discuss what will happen to claims submitted for providers who do not meet the deadlines outlined. I will spend some time today presenting information and updates, and we will have time for questions and answers afterward. Participants are in listen-only mode, but the chat feature and the Q&A feature should be enabled for submission of your questions. If you have a specific question that's specific to your situation that may require follow-up from Gainwell Technologies or the department, please include your email address along with your question so that we may reach you after today's presentation. The Provider Enrollment Portal is the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services approved state solution for the provider management module for provider enrollment and risk-based screening regulatory requirements, impacting approximately 85,396 providers, representing a combination of individuals and facilities enrolled in one or more of our managed care entities, only, fee-for-service, or a combination of enrollment in both delivery systems. The Louisiana Provider Enrollment Portal was launched in July of 2021 to screen and enroll all Medicaid providers. We have previously held webinars, pursued outreach to individual providers, associations, and today's presentation is part of that final push to assist providers with awareness and enrollment in order to meet upcoming deadlines. Providers must submit and have an approved application through the Provider Enrollment Portal to prevent claims from denying on January 1st, 2023. This is extremely important as this slide indicates that approximately 57% of providers have still not submitted an application to the portal. Who needs to enroll at this time? If you received an invitation letter, you must enroll in the Medicaid Provider Enrollment Portal. If you did not receive a letter or you are unsure, you can check your status in the Portal Enrollment Status Lookup tool. If you are listed in the Lookup tool, action is required. If you are not listed, you will be required to enroll at a later date. Here's the web address for the Enrollment Status Lookup tool and what the tool looks like. It's located at lamedicaid.com/portal-enrolled-providers/search. Data elements that may be used for lookup include NPI, provider name, provider type, specialty, address, city, state, and zip code. Providers returned via this search tool will show a status of enrollment complete, action required, or currently in process by Gainwell. An additional response is being rolled out that will be available Monday and will indicate if the application is not yet submitted. Providers that show no results are not required to enroll at this time. Invitations letters will be sent at a later date. Any public user can use the tool to check current enrollment status. All you need are the required data elements for searching. The Lookup tool is updated daily, and the results may be downloaded, or you can take a screenshot. In July of 2021, we began our first phase of the project, requiring enrollment of current managed care entity-only providers, dental benefit, program manager providers, coordinated system of care providers, and fee-for-service providers. One of the most important takeaways today is the upcoming deadline for providers to submit an application to the Provider Enrollment Portal. It is September 30th, 2022. Providers who do not submit an application to initiate the screening process will have their claims denied. When searching for provider status in the provider enrollment portal, here are the results that may be returned. It will indicate either your submission has been received, screening is in progress, your enrollment status is complete, or your enrollment with the state is denied and a letter is being mailed. Suspended status means action is required. Emails will be sent to the providers if more information is required to finish enrolling a provider. Follow the instructions in the email as timely as possible to avoid claim denials. The provider must respond with needed information to avoid claim denials. Since launching the portal in 2021, enhancements have been made, such as the addition of the Lookup tool. A new enhancement enables a provider to make a specialty change if the portal does not reflect the correct one. An example is if the portal has you shown as a pediatrician, but the provider is actually a neonatologist. Here's the contact information for the Gainwell Technologies Provider Enrollment Portal Help Desk. They can be reached at email, Louisiana PROV enroll at gainwelltechnologies.com, or by phone at 833-641-2140, and we will display this information again at the end of the presentation. Here's a look at our provider enrollment portal website. It can be reached at ldh.la.gov/Medicaid provider enrollment. This is where you find the most up-to-date information regarding provider enrollment. This process does not take the place of normal managed care entity, dental benefit program manager, or Magellan credentialing processes. Providers must still enroll, credential, and contract with the MCEs, DBPMs, and Magellan separately. Also, completing this new enrollment process does not require a provider to participate in the fee-for-service model. Providers may continue with their current business model and will not be mandated to provide care through the fee-for-service model unless that is their preference. We'll spend the next few minutes talking about impacts to claims. Claims for dates of service on or after January 1st, 2023 will be denied for providers who have not submitted their provider enrollment application by September 30th, 2022. Claims cannot be resubmitted for payment even if the provider subsequently submits an application and successfully enrolls if the date of service is before the provider enrollment application submission date. After January 1st, 2023, only denied claims for dates of service between the date of enrollment application is submitted and the date the application is approved may be resubmitted. Resubmission of claims for these dates of service will be considered for potential payment. Here we show two scenarios. Both have a date of service of August 15th, 2022, and the claim is submitted for adjudication on January 16th, 2023. In the first scenario, we show a provider who has completed enrollment, while the provider in the second scenario has not. In this situation, the outcome is the same for both providers here, as adjudication is based on the date of service of August 15th, 2022. We'll now look at scenarios for dates of service after January 1st, 2023. The date of service in all three of these scenarios is January 3rd, 2023, and all claims are submitted for adjudication on January 26th, 2023. In the first scenario, the provider has completed enrollment and the claim will process. The second scenario involves the provider who has submitted an application before January 1st, 2023, but is not yet enrolled. In this scenario, the claim will deny, but the provider claims may be resubmitted after the provider completes enrollment. In the third scenario, the provider has not submitted an application and the claim will deny. The takeaway here is that denied claims with dates of service before the provider application date may not be resubmitted for processing. This is why it is extremely important to submit applications now. This concludes the presentation portion of our webinar today. And we'll now move into questions and answers. Whitney Martinez from the department, who is our provider enrollment subject matter expert, will help me answer questions today. We will answer the general questions now. Again, if you have questions specific to your situation that may require follow-up from Gainwell Technologies or the department, please include your email address along with your question so that we may reach you after today's presentation. And so what we'll do now is we'll be taking questions from both the chat and the Q&A. Do you have to add all elements when you were looking up providers in the Lookup tool? The answer to that is no. It's going to tell you what combination of required elements are in there that are needed to return results. Next question, is there a link for the PowerPoint slides? Absolutely. They are not posted yet, but today is our last provider webinar. What we'll be posting are the slides on our LDH site. We're going to post a copy of one of our webinar recordings that can be viewed at a later time. And we will also post an FAQ, which is going to be our most frequently asked questions that we feel like were asked during the Q&A session during all of our presentations. Okay, same question. Is there a link to the PowerPoint? So yes, we will post that after the presentation on our LDH website. Next question. In my provider outreach, the provider has not paid their fee. They want to know if they have until 12/31/22 to get it paid.
Hey, Brandon, this is Whitney. I'll answer that. So as Brandon showed on the scenarios, if it's not paid until 12/31, that will not be enough time for Gainwell to process the enrollment application. So the claims will deny on 1/1/23. It is the best case scenario to have the provider pay the fee before 9/30 to make sure there are no hiccups with enrollment. So I would not wait to finish the application by paying the fee at 12/30.
Thank you, Whitney. Okay. One more question. Sorry, I applied back in 2021 and paid the $600, and they see where I paid it, but no one can seem to find me in the system. They said they sent me out an ECS letter, but I never received it. And thank you for providing your email address. We will follow up on this situation after the presentation. Okay, that looks like that concludes the questions we've received so far. Again, the Gainwell Technologies provider enrollment help desk information is located on the screen if you need assistance. If you need assistance here at the state, feel free to reach out to us as well in the provider relations department. We appreciate your time today, and
Brandon,
we thank you for being continued partners in, hello, hi Whitney.
Hey, Brandon, I'm sorry. Another question came through and I should have answered. I had a feeling that would come through. Someone's asking what fear is that provider talking about? So just for clarity, per CMS, there are every provider classification, it has like limited, moderate, high risk. And that is basically determined by CMS. And the provider that was asking the fee question would be considered a high risk. It's not because of that individual provider, it's their provider type. So many, if your provider type needed a fee, that would present itself to you in the portal. So if you were not requested to give your bank information for that fee, there's nothing more for you to do. So fees are not required to the majority of the providers. Sorry about that, Brandon.
No, absolutely fine. And that reminds me, I do want to make mention, so a question that did frequently come up on former webinars. If you did not receive a letter, if you check the Lookup tool and you don't see your information in there, it is not your time to enroll, but that doesn't mean you never have to enroll. We will be moving into a phase 2 of the project. We'll be picking up new providers that have enrolled since we started this project. So if you are a newer provider and you did not receive a letter, we will be reaching out to you in these next phases of enrollment with those letters when it's time for you to enroll. This webinar is really concerning those providers that are currently required to enroll and the upcoming 9/30/2022 deadline. So with that, we don't see any new questions in the chat or the Q&A. So again, we do thank you for your time, and we hope you have a wonderful day.